A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to Purnachandra Higher Secondary School. So in the previous class we are discussing about the Kirchhoff's law. Okay. So in the previous class there are two types of Kirchhoff's law we have discussed. That is your Kirchhoff's current law and that is your Kirchhoff's voltage law. In the previous class we have derived it also we have discussed about the Kirchhoff's current law. In this class let us discuss about the KVL, that is Kirchhoff's voltage law, or actually the Kirchhoff's voltage law is otherwise called your loop law, because generally the Kirchhoff's voltage law is applicable only for a loop or a branch, okay, which is a closed one. But in the previous class we have already mentioned that the Kirchhoff's current law is only applicable for a node or a junction. That's why that is called junction law. So let us discuss about the Kirchhoff's voltage law. So all of you look at the figure. First of all, I want to mention that this is a closed circuit. First of all, this is a closed circuit. Okay. This closed circuit is some electronics component. What are the components? Let us see. So this is the first cell. There are three cells in this electric circuit. Okay. E1, E2, E3. E1 is having an internal resistance R1, E2 having an internal resistance R2, E3 having an internal resistance R3. Okay. Then in this loop, let us name the loop. This is A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. So we will name it. Now look at it very carefully. This B point and E point are called your nodes or junctions. Look at it very carefully. These 2 points are called your nodes or junctions, B and E. Okay. But A, B, C, D, E, F, A is a loop. A, B, E, F, A is a loop. B, C, D, E, B is a loop. Okay. So now in the junction B and in the junction E, as these two are junctions, so we can apply here the Kirchhoff's current law, but we need not to discuss here. In the previous class we have already discussed, the previous video lecture. Okay, so now in this class we just have to mention, or we just have to know how to apply the KVL. Okay, so before that let us know the statement of KVL, which is very important. So what the KVL states that? The KVL states that the algebraic sum of the product of current and resistance in a closed circuit, okay, is equal to the total EMF, the total algebraic sum of the EMF present in that closed circuit. This is the statement of KVL. Clear all of you? Okay. So now let us now prove, or let us now know how the algebraic sum of the current and the resistance in a closed circuit is equal to the total EMF of this closed circuit. So let us verify. Before that, before applying the KVL to this circuit, we have to know two rules. Remember the two rules, very important. First rule is that when we are moving, okay, in a loop, if the current flowing in clockwise manner, then we take the current as positive, number one. Number two, if the current is flowing in the loop in anti-clockwise manner, then we will take the current in negative side. Okay, this is the number two. And number three, the EMF, remember the cell, or the cell producing clockwise current, the cell producing clockwise current in a loop, we will take it as the EMF as positive EMF, and the EMF producing anti-clockwise current, we will take it as a negative value. So let us now verify how this will occur. Okay, so let us see. Very importantly, so first of all, let us take two loops. We will verify with two loops. So what are the two loops? Let us first take which loop? The A, B, C, D, E, F, A. Remember, this is a loop. Okay, so let us apply the KVL to this loop. Which loop? A, B, C, D, E, F, A. Okay, So now I will start from A. So let us starting from this one. So what I told just now, if the current is flowing in clockwise, so we are moving from A. So that's why according to our movement, the current flows in clockwise direction. So that's why we will take it as a positive. Very simple. So that's what I will write. I1 R2. Clear? Okay. Then next we will move to that one. That is also clockwise. So plus I3 R4. Okay. Then come to this. That is your. And look at a very important thing here. As we are moving with this resistance, when we will pass through the cell, remember, when we will pass through the cell, we have to take in our mind one thing, that the cell is having also a internal resistance. So there is a effect, or there is a product of this current and also internal resistance. Okay. So that's why what I can write plus. So now look at here. When we are moving in this loop, then this cell also producing clockwise. Look at here. So this is a clockwise your current. So that's why I3 R3. Okay. Then come to here. That is plus I3 R5. Okay. Now come to here. That is also clockwise. So plus that is I4 R6. Understood? Then lastly come to here, that is plus I1 R1 smaller one, because this E1 is having internal resistance R1. Okay. Now that is equal to. So according to our KVL law, the algebraic sum of the current and resistance must be in a closed circuit, must be equal to the total EMF. So let us verify the EMF. So look at this EMF E1, it will produce a clockwise current. This is a clockwise current, direction is clockwise. So that's why we have to take positive. Okay, and come to E3. Because we are moving in this loop A, B, C, D, E, F. We are not going through this line. So that's why we are facing this E3. This is also producing clockwise. Look at it. So that's why plus E3. Understood all of you? So this is, let us take an equation 1. So equation 1, from equation 1, we will verify that how the KVL applies to this loop A, B, C, D, E, F, A. Very simple. Clear? So again I will repeat one thing, the E1 and E1 and E3 are positive because E1 also producing a clockwise current, E3 also producing a clockwise current during my movement. Understood all of you? Okay, let us verify to another loop. Let us take another loop. Which loop? Now A, B, E, F, A. Let us take this loop. Okay, so now again we start from here. So let us take here. So what? Now again it is clockwise. I am starting from this. So I1 R2 similarly. Then A, B. So we will enter into this. Okay, let us change here because this is positive here. Okay, so this is positive. So let us change the direction. Because why? Because this is positive, this is negative. So that's why the current is producing from here. Okay. So look at it. So we are moving this side. Look at very carefully. We are moving this side and we are facing the current against it, and also this cell. Look at very carefully. This cell producing current in this direction, which is not a clockwise direction. It is an anti-clockwise direction. That's why we are taking as minus I2 R3. Okay. Then come to here. So that is similarly this is minus. This is also because we are facing here. So this is minus I2 R2 for the internal resistance. Okay. Then come to here. But look at there, this is clockwise direction, so that is plus I4 R6. Okay, now again come to here, so that is plus I1 R1 similarly. Okay, that is equal to the total EMF. So what about this first EMF or first cell? It is producing a clockwise current. So that's why it is positive E1. But whereas look at the E2, it will not produce a clockwise current, it will produce an anti-clockwise current. That's why minus E2 equation 2. All of you clear? Okay. So this is how we will apply the KVL to these two loops. First loop is this, second loop is this. Okay. So these 2 points you must have to remember. Where the current flows in clockwise direction, you will take the current as positive. Where the current flows in anti-clockwise direction, you will take as negative. This is the number 1. Number 2. If the cell is producing a clockwise current, you will take the EMF as positive. If the cell producing an anti-clockwise current, you will take the EMF of that cell become negative, as we are taking here minus E2, because it will producing a anti-clockwise current. Clear all of you? Okay. So in this way, or this is the process how you will solve. Look at very carefully. This is the process how we will solve a complicated electrical circuit, closed circuit, okay, using the KVL. Understood all of you? Okay. So now this is how the KVL can be applied. I think all of you clear? So this is the first part of our video lecture. Okay, this is how we can solve it. If you want to solve a problem, then we can also solve a problem. There is no, let us take a very small problem. Let us take a very small problem. Easy problem, let us take. Okay, so this is the problem. Suppose we will having so anything you can take, don't worry. So suppose this is E1, this is E2. Suppose I will take this is how much, 200 volt. This is suppose 100 volt. You can take anything. Okay, so this is suppose 20 ohm. This is suppose 20 ohm. This is 10 ohm, this is 5 ohm. Okay, very simple. Now, and suppose this is again your 5 ohm. Okay. So now, what you will do? Suppose from this you are generating a current here. Very simple. Okay, this current will divide here. This is I2, this is I3. Suppose this is I1. Understood all of you? Okay. Now this current is flows here. Simple. Okay. So now this is I3. So now, all of you look at it. What type of question we will face? Now suppose these are the things given here. The voltage value. Look at very carefully the voltage values. Okay. But you are asked to find out the value of I1, the value of I2, the value of I3 in this closed circuit. Okay. So for this, again I have to mention you to take the loop's name A, B, C, D, E, F. Clear? Okay. So as we have mentioned, first take A, B, C, D, E, F, A. Taking this loop first. Okay. Then take the loop. Your or very simple process or very easy process. You just have to take these two. Okay, better. A, B, E, F, A. This loop. Okay, so when I will apply this loop, so let us. So this is your I1. Okay, so this is I1 20. Okay, clockwise. Then we will enter here. So plus I3 10. Okay, then come here plus here. Okay, so this is again your I1. I will take. So this is plus I1 5. Clear? Now for this is equal to this is the total is equal to, it is producing a clockwise current. So this this is 200. So this is equation 1. Look at very carefully. Okay, so now over this, let us take another look. B, C, D, E, B. Let us take this look. Okay, so what I will, so this is starting from here. So this is I2 5, clear, I2 5. Then look at here. When you will enter into this, you will face anti-clockwise. So this is minus. This is entering now. This is clockwise, but this is anti-clockwise. You will face. So minus I3 10. Okay, is equal to. That is your how much? Now it is also producing a clockwise current. So this is 200 volt, this is 100 volt, equation number 2. Very simple. Clear? So now what you will do? These are the two equations from these two loops. Again, there are three variables. 1, 2, 3. So we require how many equations? 3 equations. Let us take another one. Just apply the KCL here at junction B. So at junction B, look at here. So from the KCL, what we will know? The current entering I1, okay, we will take it as positive. I3, I2 is equal to 0. So that implies I1 is equal to, very simple, I3 plus I2. I1 is equal to I3 plus I2. These are two outside, these are inward. Okay, or that implies if you want to variable, take the I3. So I3 is equal to I1 minus I2. Okay, and put the value I3 here. So this is equation number 3. Let us take equation number 3. Okay, now put the equation number 3 in this equation. So what I can write? 20I1 plus how much? 10 whole into I1 minus I2 plus 5I1 is equal to 200. Simple. Okay, equation number 3. Now I can put this I3 value here also. Very simple. So if I put the value here, so what I will get? Now 5 I2 minus, in place of I3 I have to put 10 I1 minus I2 is equal to how much? And bold. Very simple. Okay. So now just you can solve it very easily. Look at this. So take it equation number 4. Okay. So now look at here. Now it is very easy. Two variables. You have two unknowns. That is I1 and I2. Two unknowns. I1 and I2 are two unknowns, and there are how many equations? Two equations. Okay. So from this equation 3 and equation 4, you can easily find out the value of I1 and I2. So in this way, you can find out the unknown currents, okay, flowing in a circuit, closed circuit, using KVL. So this is an example. Okay, so rest part you can solve very easily because just two unknowns, I1 and I2. There are two equations, equation 3 and equation 4. Solve it, you will get the answer. From these two, you will have to find out the value of I1 and you will have to find out the value of I2, and you can do it by yourself. Clear, students? Okay. So now you can do it as a homework. You can take it as a homework. Okay. Solve it. Now. Now we are moving into our second part. Okay, that is the application. Look at very carefully. We will move into the second part, that is the Wheaton's bridge. Okay, which is a very important application of your Kirchhoff's. Very important applications. Okay, so let us first draw the figure of Kirchhoff's. Your Wheaton bridge. Clear? Okay, so look at all of you clear. So this is first of all I have to mention. So Wheatstone bridge, remember very carefully. Wheatstone bridge consists of 4 resistors. Okay, so this is, let us name it as P, let us name it as Q, let us name it as R, let us name it as S. Clear? And name the junction. So this is A, B, this is C, and this is D. All of you clear? Okay. So now this in between B and D, I want to connect a galvanometer G. Clear? And all of you very much know that what is the function of galvanometer? Now galvanometer is nothing but it will detect small amount of current. It is somehow little bit different from the ammeter. Look at it. Ammeter is current measuring device, but a galvanometer is current detecting device. It will detect the current. Okay, clear. So G galvanometer. So let us take the resistance of this galvanometer be G. Okay. So capital G is the resistance of the galvanometer. Okay. So P, Q, R, S are the 4 resistors. So let us connect a cell or voltage supply in between A and C. Clear all of you? So this is the graphical or the pictorial view of Wheatstone bridge. So this is the current flow. Very simple. So this is the current I, which is divided into 2 parts. So this is I1, this is I2. Remember very carefully. So this is I1 is moving. So let us the current flowing through the galvanometer. Let us take it as IG. So this is, let us take, so this means a little bit different. So this, let us take, this is I3. Okay. So now, so this is your IG. Okay. So now this is your, very simple, this is your I4. Okay. So now this is the direction of the current. Okay. So look at very carefully. So how many currents in the 4 branches? Remember, in the 4 branches, how many currents I will take? I1, I2, I3, I4 are the 4 currents flowing in the branches. How many resistors? Now P, Q, R, S are the 4 resistors. Okay. Then G is your galvanometer. So these are the things we are taking there. Understood? So now, and this is my battery or cell having EMF. Clear all of you? Okay. So now, so what we will do? Now what is our aim? Now our aim to find out. Remember what is our aim? First of all, what is the application of actual Wheatstone bridge? Application of Wheatstone bridge is to find out the value of a unknown resistance. There are 4 resistance. So from these 4 resistance, 3 resistance value are given to you. You have to find out another resistance. But before that, before you apply this circuit to find out the unknown resistance, first of all, we have to find out the balanced condition. Remember, the balanced or neutralized condition of this bridge. Okay, so what is the condition? Let us find out. Okay, so let us find out the balanced condition of your Wheatstone bridge. Which condition? The balanced condition of your, what is the condition of balancing? Balanced condition. Okay, so let us find out what is the balanced condition of your Wheatstone bridge. Okay. So to find out the balanced condition, so similarly there are how many loops? A, B, C, D, A is a loop, and A, B, D, A is a loop. Clear? Okay. So let us take the 2 loops. So first of all, let us take the 2 junctions. The junction number A and junction number D. Sorry, junction number B and junction number D. So let us apply KCL to junction B and junction D. Okay. So when you will apply for the junction B, so what you will get? Current entering means I1, exit means, so I1 is equal to IG plus I3. Very simple. Equation number 1. Okay. This is from, this is for D, junction D. Okay, for junction D. Junction D, what I will get? Now entering I2 is equal to now I2 and I4. I2 plus I4. No, this is not I4 actually, this is IZ, sorry. This is IZ. So this is IZ is equal to I4. This is output. Okay, clear all of you. So this is equation number 2. All of you clear? So this is applying KCL. We are applying KCL here for B junction and for the D junction. Next part, we will apply the KVL. So here write down applying KVL. Next part. Okay. So applying KVL. So first we will applying KVL to the loop A. Okay. B, C, D, A. Loop. This loop. Let us apply KVL to this loop. Okay. So applying this. So you are starting from here. So I1P. Very simple. So I1P clockwise. Then plus I3. You just write it down. I3Q. Then look at here. When coming to this side, you will face anti-clockwise. So this is minus I4S. Clear? Okay. I4S. Then this is minus I2R. Clear all of you? Understood all of you? Okay. So this is, so I1P, okay, plus I3Q minus I4S minus I2R. Okay. So that is equal to, so no EMFs are there. So this is equal to 0. Okay. So that implies I1P plus I3Q is equal to I4S plus I2R. Understood all of you? Okay. So now, clear? So let us take it as equation number 3. Okay. So this is A, B, C, D, A loop. Then come to here A, B, D, A loop. Loop number A, B, D, A. Okay. So applying this equation 3. Then next come to here. Applying A, B, D, A loop. Okay. Clear? Applying A, B, D, A loop. Since applying A, B, D, A loop, similarly write down what you can write. I1P plus IGG. Okay. Then minus I2, because this is anti-clockwise facing R. Okay. Is equal to 0. So that implies that is I1P plus IGG is equal to I2R. Equation number 4. Okay. So now applying these two, we will get in this one. Very simple. Okay. So now for equations, okay, we are getting already, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4. Clear? So now next, suppose we are taking, listen very carefully, suppose we are taking in between the junction B and D, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. Suppose we are considering that there is no deflection in between B and D. What does it mean? There is no deflection in G. That means there is no current flow. Very simple. So there is no current flow means what is the value of IG? IG is equal to 0. Okay. So now what you will take? Now we are taking now between B and D. Okay. Between B and D, the galvanometer, the G is having no deflection. No deflection. That means IG value becomes 0. Clear? Ig value becomes 0. So if look at very carefully, if Ig value becomes 0, that means what we can conclude? We can conclude that the point B and point D are in equipotential. Both are in same potential. The point B also that same potential, the point D also that same potential. So point B and point D are receiving same potential because the Ig value, the Ig current becomes 0. Clear all of you? Okay. So this can be neglected. That's why the whatever the potential is B, the same potential is present at B. Ig is equal to, so let us put the Ig is equal to value here. Okay. So now let us put Ig is equal to value here. So what I can write? That implies, look at very carefully. That implies, so Ig is equal to 0 means I can write I is equal to 0 plus I3. So that implies I1 is equal to I3 box. I'll put a box. Okay. What about the equation number 2? Similarly, Ig is equal to 0. So I2 plus 0 is equal to I4. That implies I2 is equal to I4. Very simple. Clear? So now let us take, this is 4, this is equation 5, this is equation 6. Understood all of you? Okay. So by considering this, we are getting this. Clear? So now again, I1 is equal to this, I2 is equal to this. Similarly, here also we can put. Understood? Okay. So now look at it. So now, so this is the I1 is your I1 is equal to I3, I2 is equal to I4, and here also Ig value is 0. Look at here. That implies. Look at here. Here also Ig value is 0. So what I can write? The I1P is okay. So what we are going on now, by putting Ig is equal to 0, we are getting I1 is equal to I3, which I will give equation number 5. Okay. Then putting again Ig is equal to 0 here in equation number 2, we will get I2 is equal to I4. Okay. So now again there is a term Ig in equation number 4 also. So let us put it here. So if I put it 0, then what I will get? Now I1P is equal to I2R. Clear? So this is 5, this is 6. Let us take it as equation number 7. Okay. So what are the final equations? Remember, one equation I1 is equal to I3. Next equation I2 is equal to I4. And the final equation I2P is equal to I2R. Clear? So now let us substitute. Okay. So let us substitute equation 5 and equation 6. Let us substitute equation 5 and equation 6 in equation 3. In equation number 3. Okay. So what I can write? Look at here. So I1 is equal to I3. So in place of I3 I can put I1. Very simple. So if I put it, then what I will get? The I1P plus I1Q. Okay. Similarly here I4S plus I2R. I2 is equal to I4. So in place of I4 I can put I2. Okay. So that is equal to I2S plus I2R. So that implies I1 I will take it as common. So that is P plus Q. Okay. And that implies this is I2 I will take it common. This is S plus R. Okay. So give it. So this is equation number 7. So let us take equation number 8. Okay. So now next very step. Almost completed. So let us finally, or we have to conclude one thing. So now we will get equation number 8. I1 this one. P plus Q is equal to I2S plus R, and equation number 6 what I will get? I1P is equal to I2R. So let us divide equation 8 with equation 7. So what there? I1P plus Q divided by I1P is equal to I2S plus R divided by I2R. Finished. So this is these are cancelled out. So what I will left? Now P plus Q divided by P. That implies or that is equal to S plus R divided by R. So the reply is, so what I have 1 plus Q by P is equal to 1 plus S by R. Understood all of you? Okay. So one almost we can equate from RHS and LHS we can cancel out. So Q by P is equal to S by R, or that implies P by Q is equal to R by S. So remember, this is equation number, this is 8 and this is 9. This equation 9 is very important. That is P by Q is equal to R by S. So look at this figure, all of you. Look at this figure again. Look at this figure very carefully. So in a Wheatstone bridge, if P divided by Q is equal to R divided by S, then the bridge will be balanced. Okay. So this is the condition of balancing. The equation number 9. So justify the balancing condition. Okay. And what is our aim in Wheatstone bridge? To find out the unknown resistance. So P by Q is equal to R by S. So from this 4 resistance, if one of the resistance becomes unknown and other 3 resistance are known, then you can easily find out from this formula. You can easily find out the value of unknown resistance. Suppose P, Q, R resistance value is given to you. You have to find out the value of S. Then from this formula you can easily find out. All clear? So this is the derivation of Wheatstone bridge is very important from the exam point of view, and it's a very important application of your Kirchhoff's law. Okay, so from the problem point of view, and also remember the balancing formula, and also how to apply the KVL to electric circuit. Okay, students.